So hello people, hello again. Welcome to this session about answer writing of psychology optional. So my name is Sai Krishna. I have secured All India rank 125 in UPSC Civil Services Examination 2025 and I have scored 290 in psychology, 140 in paper 1, 150 in paper 2. So this session is about, in the previous session we have covered the 10 markers of paper 1 of 2024 question paper. So in this session we will be covering the 15 markers and 20 markers. So there will be a little difference in answering these questions, the 10 markers and the 15 and 20 markers. तो उस पे ध्यान दीजिए. And how do you elaborate, how do you fill the space if you are not much aware of the topic and all those things. तो यहाँ पे so 4A differentiate between classical and operant conditioning, discuss their applications with suitable examples. A core demand देखिए. So its first half is differentiating between classical and operant conditioning. Second half will be applications with suitable examples. So it's pretty simple to structure this answer. So now this is a 20 marker. In the context of 20 markers, since you get 4 pages to write and you get enough headroom to elaborate the topic, elaborate the concept that is being asked in the question, you can start in a more comprehensive manner. So here I tried to give the definition of learning and how classical and operant conditioning are the pioneers, conceptual pioneers of the process of learning. तो मैंने briefly ये कर दिया, but you can also talk, give the introduction about directly jumping into classical and operant conditioning, that saying classical, these are instrumental, these are basic forms of learning and are instrumental and have wide applications and they differ in certain areas of aspects. So I have discussed about who proposed it, who matlab origins and an example, and then the nature of the aspects that are central in each particular form of learning. जैसे classical conditioning में natural instinctive responses are the core and operant conditioning is based on the exploratory behavior of the organism. So and hence it is called as instrumental learning, instrumental conditioning also, because the organism is instrumental in this form of learning. The motivational factors, the cognitive factors of the organisms are more instrumental in this form of learning. Then I spoke about like how various parameters, various processes, so generalization के बारे में बात किया, which is very important when we generalize our learning to multiple aspects, because we learn anything in a specific situation and apply it to general situations. So I talked about generalization and extinction, how they go away. So these are the dimensions in which I could differentiate operant and classical conditioning. So aversion, and you can talk about more. I don't think I have covered exhaustively this thing. So here I have given while I was evaluating, I have tried to figure out the dimensions that I can talk about. So you can start with definition, key theorist, and nature, जो instinctive exploratory we have talked about that, and mechanism, acquisition, association, ये सब के बारे में बात कर सकते हैं. I haven't talked about them while I was writing the answer. So factors involved, the जैसे organismic factors, the nature of stimuli in classical conditioning, or organismic factors and nature of reinforcement, ये सब in instrumental conditioning, operant conditioning. That's a very important point which I have missed here. So and any supporting research studies and the biological underpinnings of each of these. So the how classical conditioning is applicable in even immune responses, the so and extinction finally. So this is one kind of framework that you can evolve around these questions, the questions which ask about differences, because these seem to be scoring because structuring and representation of these answers is easy and मतलब एक structured way पे आप present कर सकते हो. So you can evolve such a framework while practicing. So ऐसा कुछ by defining the dimensions. So next, coming to the second half of the question, I wasn't so well versed with the applications of classical and operant conditioning at that point of time when I was writing this exam. So I strategically left little lesser space for this at the second half of the question. So if I am writing it again, I will divide it in two pages. So pay attention to that also. Plan your answer, especially for 20 markers. You will have sufficient amount of time, so you can plan your answer, like how to introduce इस पार्ट के लिए कितने proportion of pages दे सकते हैं, इस पार्ट के लिए कितना. So ऐसा plan करके you can start answering 20 markers and 15 markers also. For 10 markers you don't have much time to plan and all, and you need not plan those things. They are straightforward single piece or two piece questions. So yeah, next coming to the applications. So I have divided into classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Prefer not to write these short forms in the actual exam as headings. So applications of classical conditioning, I would have written classical conditioning if I am writing again. So yeah, therapy, systematic desensitization. So mention these psychologists wherever you can. Write Erkes Dodson law, sports psychology में, and advertising and education में I have missed it a bit. So yeah, rewards, the associations that form in school, teachers, जैसा our natural instinct is to क्या बोलते हैं, स्कूल में बेल रिंग करता है. So when we feel hungry, we get attracted towards food, but when bell is preceding that timing of hunger, so your hunger is triggered by the ringing of the bell also. So aisa, so now I am not able to recall extraordinary examples, but you can also mention these in the question, in the answer, so that you are at least giving the examiner the impression that you have understood the question and you are trying to answer. So yeah, advertising में use होता है. So the emotional conditioning होता है, like even jewelry advertisements and the cornflakes advertisements. There are a lot of cues that are placed in those advertisements to make the person recall that particular brand when they think of jewelry, they think of cornflakes or anything. So yeah, that's how it is used. So these two are very good points which I have missed, but yeah, I have also mentioned the other points also. So for operant conditioning, yes, we have therapy in public policy, the tax payment. Nowadays we receive appreciating message for filing IT returns. So that's a positive reinforcement and socialization. And ड्रग अब्यूज़ को ड्रग रिहेबिलिटेशन में ऑपरेंट कंडीशनिंग यूज़ की जाती है. वर्क प्लेस skill training, education. So yeah, there are a lot to discuss about. So as I said, if I am writing this again, I would have divided into two pages. So yeah, this is how you answer a 20 mark question. You can observe the important parameters. So you can introduce it well, you can elaborate around the topic, you can give examples, you can present your own analysis also. जैसे I have presented my own analysis here in both the aspects, the cognitive factors like reward, these. So Alvarez and Borda का एक I would have mentioned this experiment. So yeah, where the organismic cognitive factors become very important when learning, during the process of learning, even through classical conditioning and operant conditioning, which from by understanding which we graduated from CC and OC towards the observation learning and other cognitive facets of learning. So ऐसा. So this is how you answer a 20 mark question. And जिन questions में differences के बारे में पूछते हैं, you can form a framework. and applications में you can expand yourself as much as you can. So wider the applications, the better your marks be. So 4B, it's a 15 marker question. How do various monocular and binocular cues help us with depth perception? Discuss with the help of examples. This is why studying NCERTs, especially for psychology, becomes very important. This can be directly answered by reading the NCERTs alone. Right. We briefly introduce monocular and binocular cues. So yeah, this 3 dimensions, 2-dimensional हमारा जो रेटिना पे इमेज फॉर्मेशन है 2-dimensional होता है, बट वर्ल्ड को 3 dimensions में परसीव करने के लिए these are instrumental. So this is the keyword for cues for depth perception. So how do they help in depth perception? इसमें भी इसमें एक ही पार्ट है. You how do various discuss with each cue, how does it help in depth perception, and an example. So that's how. I have not written many examples, but I have covered many points also. So इसमें diagrams would have helped me much better. Yeah, that would have given the examiner the impression that have understood the concept perfectly. So for those who are fixed with whether to include diagrams in the answers or not, so this is the way to think. जैसे perception and wherever diagrammatic representation helps the examiner understand the concept better. जैसे perception में diagrams are of great use because you are talking about perception. You are going to help the examiner in perceiving your answer better. तो ये and thematics जैसे model memory हुआ and पास का इंटेलिजेंस जो मॉडल है, पास का प्लानिंग, अरोजल एंड ये सब उसका एक थीमेटिक है, लूरिया मॉडल बोलते हैं. So ऐसे जगह you are better use diagrams that if they concisely convey what you want to say. And in chapters like social psychology, human development, and motivation, even motivation and emotion में you can use diagrams by showing the pathways of emotions, how पहले the incident occurs and your response. There are schematics in the different models of different approaches, perspectives of understanding emotions. तो वो सब इन सब में आप diagrams use कर सकते हैं इधर भी. So I have tried to use a small diagram. So it's you can read the answer in the posted in the Telegram channel. So it's I have lifted it straight away from the NCERTs. I haven't mentioned anything extravagant or anything of my own here. So yeah, represent these psychologists names. वो कर देना, mention them wherever you can, wherever you're borrowing any theoretical or research study base to explain your point. So जैसे Muller-Lyle illusion में I have mentioned Segal and Campbell and Berkovich. So yeah, use them liberally wherever you can. So that will give more credibility to your points. आधा 1 mark वहाँ बढ़ सकता है. So I have given myself 10 marks for this because it's very well covered and अच्छे से याद रख के मैं लिख पाया. So I have given 12 marks for my 20 marker. So if I'm evaluating it again, I would give myself 11 or 10 because I could have discussed about more applications and I could have structured the differences better. So now 4C, it's a 15 marker again. Distinguish memory and forgetting. Discuss meta memory and innovations in the study of memory. It's a quite open-ended question, so थोड़ा सा different question है. So distinguish memory and forgetting. So there is a process of formation of memory and there is a process of forgetting. When you look at these both as processes, you can distinguish, uh, uh, or else you can get, there is a danger that you will get limited to thinking memory is opposite of forgetting. What is there to distinguish? So जो process में once we pay attention to details through the process, you can differentiate. So this is how you unfreeze your answers in the exam. So pick an approach where you can talk about the core aspects asked in the question. So always assume that question makes sense. Always assume that question is the given question is trying to extract some information, some analysis, some capability out of you. इस assumption से you can play around with the concepts. So there is one key psychological aspect while answering the questions. So yeah, I have tried to give an introduction. It's not so great, but yeah, have directly jumped into the answer. Difference process of, yeah. So basic definition. How does it happen? मतलब क्या क्या perspectives हैं memory में and इसमें, and like the nature of the process. So time parameter के ऊपर, how does it happen? So I could have discussed about more of this, but again during the exam, sitting there in the exam, I could only cover these many, and because there is half more aspect of the question to be covered. Yeah, this is a very good point that I have tried to establish, which I was impressed with this point. Memory and forgetting are they need not be treated as opposites, but mutually interacting processes, because that's where I started my answer. That's the thought from where I started my answer, by assuming that this memory makes sense, this question makes sense, and I have spoken about the processes. So if I'm evaluating again, I'll give myself 9 or 10 out of 15. So now the second half of the question is discuss multi-store model and meta memory as innovations in the study of memory. Yeah, probably this is why I have given myself 8 marks. So I need to discuss here how there are innovations in the research area of memory, not discussing their definitions and their models and explaining them, how they are innovative. So yeah, this I could recall after I have written the entire half of the answer, and I could put only in the conclusion. So this is why I could answer I could not answer the innovation part. So either briefly 3 more modules, and ये thematic draw करने की ज़रूरत नहीं थी. So this is what happens when we force diagrams. Multi-store model में there is a famous diagram, and you tend to write it. So I don't see it's a very good answer. So yeah, I don't encourage you to forcefully use diagrams in the answer. So refer to this answer, and you can also look at, yeah, the knowledge aspects are there, retrospective meta memory hub. So an examiner can see, and even if you haven't explicitly mentioned how it is innovative, these are innovative aspects to understand the process of learning, to plan your learning, to plan your sessions, to which judgment of learning is of great use in understanding your methodology. So instrumental in self-instructional learning. So yeah, and when I want to talk about innovation, I could have mentioned that multi-store model. It has give a new approach to memory where by saying that different types of memory have different types of stores, and it also drawn analogy from the computer and meta memory may. So yeah, these are innovative aspects only, but again meta memory may the the understanding, even this has applications in cognitive neuropsychology, and even the inter disciplinary fields like computer science and cognitive psychology. So meta memory is being used in learning models, AI learning models and all. So as a, you can talk about these X factors that you can mention in your answers. So this is how you answer 15 marker and 20 markers. So for more examples, you can go through the papers I have uploaded in the Telegram channel. So those might be of use to you. And please comment in case you want to have any of your specific questions answered. Else you can join the Telegram channel and you can post your question there. I'll be more than happy to answer, and you'll have a community there to answer. There is a mutual help group that I am trying to create there. So thank you.